History has its OK Corral shootouts, moments when tension bursts in the open, steel and smoke deciding the outcome. But Rome? Rome preferred its battles over goblets of wine. In the palace of Caligula, a dinner invitation was never just about food. It could mean music and laughter, or the last meal you'd ever eat. Tonight, in this history documentary for sleep, we set the table for one of the strangest chapters of imperial life, where feasts were theaters, toasts were tests of loyalty, and the next course could be treachery. So settle in, let the torches light your path, and drift back to a world where power, politics, and plates piled high with danger shared the same table.
But before we lift the curtain on this hidden chapter of Rome, take a moment to subscribe to the channel, because what you're about to hear is just the beginning of a history Rome tried to erase.
In all of ancient history, no seat was more dangerous than the one beside Caligula. The emperor's table was no simple dining place, it was a stage. Gold platters gleamed beneath the flicker of torchlight. Crystal goblets caught and scattered the glow like liquid fire. Peacocks roasted whole. Figs sweet as honey, spices so rare they had traveled weeks across deserts and seas, every course a display of Rome's power. Around it sat senators, generals, ambassadors from kingdoms near and far. Silk robes brushed against armor, eyes studied every gesture, every smile. For in this room, alliances could be sealed with a toast, or destroyed with a single word from the emperor. No one ever knew whether they would rise from the table as honored allies or be carried away before dessert. Caligula's death list was as unpredictable as the man himself. Friends, rivals, even sworn enemies found themselves summoned to dine. One moment he might drape you in gold chains, praise your wit, and send you home with gifts worth a fortune. The next, with a flick of his hand, he could order you stripped naked, paraded before the crowd, or forced to dance until your dignity bled away. Some claimed he invited the wives of senators not for their company, but to proposition them in front of their husbands, a humiliation served colder than the wine. Rome whispered. It whispered in taverns, in markets, in the quiet corners of temples, and over time those whispers hardened into the kind of eerie historical facts that survive centuries, the ones that still send a shiver, even when you know they might only be half true. The food at Caligula's feasts was the stuff of legend. Peacock tongues served on plates of gold, flamingo brains sprinkled with rare spices, even pearls dissolved in vinegar sipped as a health tonic fit for an emperor. But the true feast was the spectacle. Between courses, acrobats in shimmering fabrics leapt between tables, their shadows flickering against marble columns. The clash of steel rang out as gladiators fought in the very center of the dining hall, their breath ragged, their swords gleaming red in the torchlight. And once, if the chroniclers are to be believed, Caligula ordered prisoners executed as after-dinner entertainment, their screams competing with the sound of music and laughter. Here, luxury and cruelty were plated side by side, and no guest could ever be certain which they'd be served next. Caligula loved a joke, but only when he was the one laughing. He might lean toward a guest, wine on his breath, and casually ask, "How would you like to die?" Most would force a chuckle, thinking it was dark humor. Then the emperor would nod to his guards and make it happen before the night was over. Other times he'd heap a senator's lap with gold, praising his loyalty in front of the entire table, only to demand it all back the next day, along with the man's dignity. For Caligula, the dinner table was more than a place to eat. It was a chessboard. Every guest was a piece, to be moved, tested, humiliated, or quietly removed from the game entirely. Was it madness, or the most calculated display of power in Rome's history? Some historians believe Caligula's feasts were more than indulgence. They were propaganda, a living performance designed to prove that the emperor controlled not only Rome's armies, but its appetites and its fears. Every platter of rare delicacies, every cruel joke, every unexpected act of generosity or violence, all part of a script meant to remind guests that their lives were his to season, serve, and consume. In this hidden history, dinner was not simply a meal. It was a weapon, and every man and woman at the table was a potential victim. When the wine was gone and the candles burned low, the survivors of Caligula's dinners slipped into the night without a word. Some never returned. Others began to plot. In the end, the man who turned feasts into battlefields met a death as sudden and as merciless as the fates he dealt to his guests. Steel in the dark, a final course served cold. Yet his banquets live on, wrapped in rumor and shadow, among the most unsettling secrets of ancient Rome. A reminder that the deadliest battles are not always fought in the arena. Sometimes they unfold quietly, over bread and wine. Good night, and sleep well, if you can.